Tell them who we are, Bob.
Hey folks, welcome to the Tuesday night edition that was not last week, but is this week.
That's us.
We're on, we're pleased you're here, and we're sitting around just discussing.
Yeah, we was here just arguing and then realized we was wasting all that good talk.
You should have heard me and my tree-hugging daughter up there this evening.
Your tree-hugging daughter run her car out of oil, didn't she?
Well, what happened?
She trying to wean it?
When she checked the oil, she pulled a little spout out with a dipstick. And then she didn't get it back in there, and it pumped all the oil out there, you know. And it run hot and blew a head gasket, so I think we can get her back to running, but for how long, I don't know.
You got any color to that oil? Any color to that oil that slipped in there?
No, it wasn't.
You know, like brass and...
No, we didn't find any...
Well, if they get hot enough to blow a head gasket because they're out of oil, there's usually some more problems.
Yeah, I know that. We just hope we can get her running long enough I can trade it.
Look out, folks. Don't buy no Isuzus.
Don't buy no 2,000 Volkswagen Beetles.
You done told them what it is now. You done messed up. It's a good-looking car. I wouldn't buy it at a yard sale.
Well, I just wondered if maybe I ought to put another motor in it.
If you're going to drive it, it'd be a good idea.
Well, I was thinking about that, you know. I've already ordered head gaskets, which was $31, and see what else.
Now, you may get lucky, but if you blow the head gasket because it got hot from being without oil, you got more problems than a head gasket.
Probably more than likely. I would agree with you. We'll see what happens. We'll see how much she rattles when we crank her up, you know.
Well, anything else going on?
No, I've just been sitting around listening to a little of the news, and of course talking to my daughter, who is very much in the know.
Did she vote for Obama?
No, she didn't, I don't think. But she typifies the thinking in this country. Everything from government health care to Al Gore to gay marriage. You know, if you have any moral values that you feel are being violated, here in this country they turned it into a civil rights issue.
Well, here's the reasoning. Right now we're worrying about the Keystone Pipeline. We're worrying about same-sex marriage. We're worrying about whether they should be allowed to take your guns away from you. And that is a distraction from the things that are going to sink this country, in that we're going broke. We're going broke in a hurry. We're burdening our children and our grandchildren and several generations forward with a debt that they can't pay. We have all these here unfunded mandates, and everybody says, well, I paid in Social Security, I'm supposed to get it. If none of them settle for what they paid in, they always want something extra. They want it for the rest of their lives. I mean, I understand that was a contract we made. I draw Social Security, I give it every back to them. If they'll just turn me loose and let me make a living, they ain't going to do that.
Well, you know, I mentioned right before we went on the air that I agree very much with Ronald Reagan on his statement that government is not the solution to our problem, that government is the problem.
You know, people are being blindsided by being distracted. They take their eye off the ball, and then they move the goal on them.
Right. While you're looking at something else, you come back, oh, no, it's not that way anymore, you know.
It's people are just all bogged down in silly stuff. What two people do in the privacy of their own home is none of my business.
No.
But I don't believe government should be in the business of licensing marriages anyway.
Well, okay, I agree with you there, but what I was going to say, this argument they're having now, which is nothing more than a distraction, is not about what they do in the privacy of their home or in the bedroom. This is where they can receive Social Security benefits and health benefits and everything, just like a heterosexual.
I agree, but you show me one place in the U.S. Constitution where they have the right to make any decisions on that.
Who?
The federal government.
Where they have a right to make a decision. You're saying that the Constitution does not allow the federal government to make a decision on things.
That's right.
I think that's very true.
It's left to the states.
Huh?
It's left to the states and to the people.
And only to me, where the federal government would come in is that the uniformity of laws, where someone that contracts marriage and
where does it say? Where does it say in the Constitution that the laws have to be uniform throughout the states?
Well, you're equal, yeah. Well, but what do you do if
you're going to say the 14th Amendment?
You
might argue that the 14th Amendment does that, but that's pretty broad.
Right. It's just hard to say, but I do know one thing, that if I come into the state of Tennessee expecting to be have all the blessings of North Carolina law under the gun carrying act, I would not have. I'd be put in jail in Tennessee for doing what I could do in North Carolina.
Yeah, and if I go to North Carolina and do what I do in Tennessee, they'll put me in jail too.
Like what?
Not pay my state income tax for one thing.
If you didn't pay it.
That's right.
Well, but
you don't have to pay any in Tennessee.
But what I'm saying, when you go to North Carolina, you don't have to pay Tennessee state income tax.
No, but you have to pay North Carolina state income tax.
Not unless you're a resident.
If you earn money there, you do.
Well, if you earn money there, but I mean, they can put me in jail for gun violations whether I earn any money here or not.
Well, they can't put you in jail if you ain't got a gun.
Huh?
They can't put you in jail if you ain't got a gun.
They can't put you in jail if you ain't got any income. They can't put you in jail. They can't put you in jail for not paying your taxes anyhow.
Yeah, I bet you they can.
No, they put you in jail for not filing them.
Okay, not filing them. Okay, not filing.
They put you in jail for not filing income tax, but they can't put you in jail for not paying.
So you've disproved my point. You think that North Carolina's laws are superior to Tennessee's laws, and I think Tennessee's
didn't say that. I said they were different, and so.
Well, do you want to start paying income tax in Tennessee?
That's got nothing to do with it.
Yeah, it does.
There's no law in Tennessee that says you have to pay.
No, but you want uniform laws.
I didn't say I wanted uniform law. I said there was a problem with not having uniform laws as far as marriage is concerned. For a long time, people would take off to Reno to get divorced, and then the courts in the local states would say, no, you wasn't divorced, because they didn't go through their channels.
Mm-hmm.
But all that's been worked out where, you can one day divorce in Reno and you're home free.
Well, that's good.
I don't think it ought to take over one day to get divorced.
So if I want to go to California and get married, I can. That's okay.
Right.
In California,
not to me. I don't care what.
California and the federal government can recognize that marriage. That don't mean the state of Tennessee has to.
Right, that's true. Well, Tennessee used to let them get married when they were 14, and Jerry Lee Lewis, didn't he get arrested in England?
I don't know.
For having a 14-year-old bride.
Well, the whole point is, if government would back out of our business altogether, we'd all be better off, and the country would be in a lot better shape.
Agreed.
If they would turn business loose and let them do business, we'd be better off.
Agreed.
We supposedly have reserves of 600 years worth of petroleum in this country.
That's petroleum.
Yeah, petroleum. Coal, we've got the same amount, and we've learned to burn them both a lot cleaner. In fact, they've come up with technology to burn coal almost 1% of the carbon that's supposed to be so awful released into the atmosphere is all it would be. I mean, we've cut it down 99%. Okay, so if we turn business loose and let them do business, we'll again be the powerhouse of the world. And can you imagine what would happen if suddenly your electric bill went down by 2/3 and your gas bill went down by 2/3, and everything associated with energy had that same ripple effect of cost reduction?
Right.
You think we wouldn't be working in high cotton?
Right. Well, actually, my ex-wife's light bill would have only cost me $70 today under that formula, rather than $224.86.
What are you doing paying your ex-wife's electric bill?
You don't really think that mere divorce would get you out from under petticoat government, do you?
Oh, that ex-wife. Well, you know, I think you take a shower down there and eat every now and then, don't you?
Huh?
You take a shower down there and eat every now and then.
Yeah, once in a while, yeah.
Well, you ought to ante up.
Well, you got to ante up, I reckon. You know, if you get in the game, you gotta ante. You know, and
Well, ain't but one way you can get good heat, good energy, cheap, and that's go down to Digger Wilson's
now I went down there this morning and got her 2 tanks of propane. That's on top of her light bill.
How's Digger doing?
Huh?
How's Digger doing?
He's doing wonderful. He was out bouncing around this morning. He looked like a young colt running up and down the pasture in a cold winter morning, blowing steam out of his nostrils. You know, he was you ought to go down there and see the Digger.
562-5444 for all your propane needs, right there in the middle of the road in Sawmill Hollow.
Okay. I threatened him today on something. I'm not going to mention it. I said, boy, I'll fix you up.
I ain't getting into none of these your
yeah, he knew I wasn't.
surreptitious
Right.
threats.
Right. Yeah, you have to go down to Wilson's Propane. That's what I eat with, and that's what we're staying warm by tonight.
We got one right over there going right now.
Yeah, we do.
I thought I was done with that till it turned winter again.
Right.
This global warming certainly is an embarrassment.
Yeah, it ain't doing much for me. This global warming's not. The only thing it's done is turned this snow into water.
I tell you, the best way to have cold weather is to organize a climate disruption campaign. You know, they started out with global warming and they couldn't sell nobody on that because it wasn't warming enough. So they went to climate change, and everybody said, well, you know, climate's always changed. So now they tried climate chaos, and that people didn't catch on to that because they couldn't have enough tornadoes. They had to call off. So now they're calling it climate disruption. But the whole point is, every time they have some sort of a rally, it gets so cold, people's freezing, standing around, has to build a fire.
That kind of ended the global warming deal, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, they had a protest this week, and you see what's going on.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, you just don't know, really. I was talking with my daughter about that. You know, I told her up until this year, 1932 was the warmest year on record, and I said, you know, it was all them little SUV A models running around that caused all the global warming.
Well, who sold her on this foolishness anyway? Her professors?
Everybody in the UT system, the social media and everything. See, this is point. It's kind of hard to make a point, but see, our government is in the sway of your conservationists and environmentalists, and they are intentionally penalizing the American public by making us pay more for our energy because we're not producing the energy the way they want us to. Okay, and they want it from solar panels and windmills and that sort of thing, you know, and they are anything that has anything to do with fossilized fuel, and I'm not sure that per se that oil is fossilized fuel, per se. There was never that many dinosaurs.
You know, you said something one time. I was talking about this here theory with growing support that oil is constantly being replenished and manufactured underneath the pressure and the temperature using natural methane and water and everything that goes on down deep under the Earth's surface. And some people argue it can't be done, and you come up with a very brilliant statement one time. I mean, that's one, and how long have we known each other? 10,
I'm down to one in 78 years.
One brilliant statement in 10 or 12 years. But you said everything that it takes to make gasoline is still here after you burn it, and it is. The carbon, the water, the only thing that's not readily available is the heat byproduct that we make use of, so you should be able to take all those same components and put them back under the right conditions and add heat to them and come up with gasoline again. Well, same thing with crude oil. Well, we've got heat and pressure down under.
Well, you take, I just saw today on television a little segment of a guy that went down in the what do you call that trench out there in
Marianas?
Yeah, down in the deepest place in the ocean.
Pacific or Atlantic?
Huh?
Pacific or Atlantic?
Pacific.
Marianas Trench in the Pacific.
It's 7 miles and something deep.
Okay.
Well, can you imagine with the little plankton that dies and falls to the bottom of the ocean, not only just there in that trench but elsewhere, just how much pressure that is under, which pressure produces heat. That's what makes carbon turn into
They've got volcanic vents down there too.
Huh?
The maximum known depth of the Marianas Trench is 6.8 miles.
6.8 miles. Bob said 7. Where's it at?
Located off Honolulu.
Western Pacific.
Yeah,
okay.
Located off Honolulu.
Have they got any volcanic vents there?
Well, the trench is not part of the seafloor closest to the center of the Earth. This is because the Earth is not a perfect sphere.
Well, it's in the what is it? The Ring of Fire.
Ring of Fire, yeah.
So you've got possibility for extreme heat and extreme pressure
not
and
only
water.
heat from volcanoes, but the actual pressure itself produces heat. That's what creates diamonds, is the pressure and.
Well, I think you get the heat from pressurizing, not from stable pressure.
Well, I guess, in
other words, if you've got low pressure and you condense it, you get heat. But if you've got stable pressure,
billions of tons of little plankton that's being pressurized, and it's just like a log rotting somewhat. These things deteriorate and produce. To me, that's where the majority of the oil is being produced.
Well, they say that, I mean, there's some evidence to support that you have heat within the Earth. You have a heat from just like you said, being confined and insulated and isolated, but you've got nuclear decay, which causes heat. And you've got a lot of heat, and you've got a molten ball in the middle of the Earth, so it's that hot down there. So you've got the heat, and you've got methane.
Right.
Now, methane combined with water and heat and pressure can produce crude oil.
Right. Yeah.
And that's they say that it's not only is it there, it is naturally replenished
I think so. I believe
and
that.
recycled
I
because
don't think it's from the trees and the dinosaurs and everything just died on land.
well, the carbon in the atmosphere eventually worked its way back into that same process.
Right.
And you've got, just like our water cycle, you've got a carbon
Right.
cycle too.
Right. Well, but you know what it does or it doesn't. I don't think it's right for our federal government to impose artificial hardships on its population.
Well, that's what they've been doing since about 1973.
Yeah, they're imposing artificial hardship, you know, and they say, and the theory is that, oh well, if we let them have cheap oil, they'll never change.
Well, we've got that crony capitalism at work too. We've got some corporations that make great profits by being so expensive that the little people
we have a
can't get
system
in.
where we can make a profit on a shortage.
Yes, yes. I mean, you know, at one time when Nixon come up with these price controls,
Right.
wage and price controls, we had shortages of everything. There was even a guy in here one time talking about being a shortage of dirt. He's talking about they couldn't get any field dirt anymore. Everybody talks about shortage of sugar and shortage of gasoline, shortage of everything.
Right.
This guy said there's a shortage of dirt. My daddy said there's as much dirt as there's ever been.
TV. Hey.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Oh well. That didn't work out real good.
Yeah, say we had a shortage of dirt, huh?
Shortage of dirt.
Well, you know, did we ever solve the problem of why all these ancient cities are always buried underground so deep?
I don't know. I think we're getting new dirt all the time, don't you?
I mean, really, you know, I wonder why in the world they're always...
Where'd all that dirt come from?
Yeah.
Well, where'd all that water come from? It sucked up Atlanta, so we ain't had no global warming recently.
Well, you know where it come from. The water in the oceans come from, don't you?
Where's that?
They piped it in from Mars.
Well, I hadn't thought of that. I read one time where there's so many tons of water fall into the atmosphere from space every day.
Really?
Yeah. And there's also this theory that that's where we get these here worldwide pandemics. That there are some microorganisms out there that can live through the temperature and pressures in space. And that's why you had the Spanish flu it struck worldwide, and that was before we had jet travel and stuff. And it just seemed to hit all over the world at the same time. There is the argument that World War I was ended by the fact that the American troops went over and infected Europe, but they also had pockets of the Spanish flu in other places besides America before we went there, and there wasn't, I mean, you don't go by train and horse cart and way out places around the world.
Right.
Yeah, I'll tell you what you can do though. If you're out riding your horse cart and decide you want to move up in the world, I recommend getting your car parts from Napa, don't you?
You definitely need to. Do you know they got parts readily available for a 2000 Volkswagen?
That's amazing. I ain't never had nothing with a 2 in its first name.
2000 Volkswagen. I got head gaskets. And let's see, what else I have to have besides head gaskets? Well, we naturally we're not changing oil, but we're gonna put oil in it with a new filter, and change the antifreeze, and put some new sparking.
Antifreeze?
Huh?
Summer's almost here.
Yeah, but I mean
gone.
coolant. We'll put coolant in there. Okay. You got to keep the engine.
562-9406 or
Right.
562-2529.
That's Napa. They got it all. I mean, I guarantee you, this pickup, that's no problem. You know, if it had been a 1957 Volkswagen like I owned one time, he would have come up with the parts.
Did you ever try to take the flywheel off one of them?
Huh?
Did you ever try to take the flywheel off one of them old Volkswagens?
The what?
The flywheel?
Oh, I don't know, but you ever tried to take the rear axle out?
No.
You got to have a cheater about long as hit the wall.
Well, the flywheel's got one nut on it,
Right.
and it's tightened by Amazons or something. You can't get that sucker off if you can find a wrench to fit it, and everything you get will twist in two. I was down there today. I went down. I was going down the road, and I was turning in down there at the mall, and I was going over there to get me something for lunch. And here comes this city maintenance truck up the road, and he had this here traffic cone hung under his truck, and he's just sliding it up the road, kind of like some people do two boxes. And I was seeing him coming, and I rolled down my window and start pointing, and I look over, and he's just sitting there on his cell phone and driving and doesn't know he in the world.
Otherwise, he was young enough to recognize it. He wasn't old and crochetti like me.
Yeah,
was
he just didn't know what was going on. He was clueless, like some people I could name.
I'm like that woman in any which way it lose that
Any which way.
drag that Volkswagen with her to, I think it was it down to San Diego.
I don't know. You ain't like
Hey, wasn't
Chevy
nothing-
Chase and drag that dog down the road, are you?
wasn't nothing but an axle left when she got there.
Drug the dog.
Huh?
You don't drag dogs around here. You drug dogs.
Yeah. Well, no, dogs are drugged around here, you know, and I've noticed
Well-
that they've been a little bit more attentive to their grammar here lately, and their grandpa too.
That's good. They ain't got a lot of editors in this
Right.
town.
But you know,
I talk like a hillbilly, but I ain't no newspaper
we
editor.
were talking about what happened over in Cyprus,
Yeah.
where the government, you know, just squandered their money, spent it recklessly, like our government's doing here, you know, with Joe Biden going to Paris
Yeah.
and spending $377,000 just on those people that went with him to travel.
That was just for his limousine service.
Yeah, that's just a
And
limousine.
then about $1 million for 2 nights over there.
Yeah. Well,
They say that was just par for the course, but he could have stayed here,
and he could have stayed here. He didn't have to
and they
spend
could have
that.
opened up the White House tours for about 2 months.
Right, I expect so. But that's just, you know,
Longer than that.
we take things too light. They say, well, that's about what it costs. That ain't necessarily about what it ought to cost.
Well, he don't have to go.
I don't see why in the world he needs to.
Well, Obama's youngins and the old lady and everybody's in the Bahamas. Well, they probably pay their motel bill and stuff. They get the family discount, I guess. But all them people has to go guard them people. I mean, that costs us money.
Well, see,
too.
now that didn't include the Secret Service expense for Joe Biden.
Well, you were talking about them taking money in Cyprus.
Why?
Do you realize that back about one of FDR's first things was to close the banks
Right, and go off the gold standard.
and to go off the gold standard?
Right.
And he required people to turn in their gold. And
Right.
it was against the law to own gold after a certain date.
Right.
And what they did, they arbitrarily set the price of gold at just over $20.
Right,
And you had to go sell your gold to these people for $20
Right.
and change. And if you had any gold after that, they could put you in jail and take your gold.
right,
Then a year later, he bumped the price of gold up to $35,
right.
meaning that the government
Made,
reaped the reward of $15 an ounce
right.
just for stealing it off the people. Now,
Right.
that's the same thing they're doing in Cyprus, just a
True.
different way.
That's true.
And if they couldn't print money here in the United States, they'd done been stealing
Well,
everything
see,
they get.
they have a plan here where they would stop giving you any tax credits for your 401k or for your IRAs. but the government would buy those 401ks at the price they were worth prior to the 2008 crash, or 2009 crash, whichever one it was, and they would give you that for it, and then they would pay you 2 to 3% interest on it, so the government can use your money. However, you cannot add, if you add to it, you cannot take any tax credit for adding to it. So that's just an end run.
Well, they've got another end run going. In Cyprus, they just went in and took the money, so much of it over a certain amount.
Right.
Right here, every month, the Federal Reserve adds $85 billion to the money in circulation.
Right.
That means that there's $85 billion more money circulating and chasing the same amount of goods.
Right.
Which means your dollar is worth less every month than it was the month before. That's the same thing.
That's exactly true, because the government is doing it. It's not the forces of economics that's doing it.
If you don't have some creation of wealth, there's no justification for creating money. Because if you've got 3 watermelons and everybody wants one and everybody's got $1 a piece and you charge $2 for watermelons, nobody can buy them. But if you give everybody $10 a piece, then they can pay $10 for watermelons. So you go up to $30 for watermelons. I mean, same amount of money chasing the same amount of goods. I mean, more money chasing the same amount of goods, it won't buy nothing.
Right. That's what's happening. And you see that very pointedly in the up and down price of our gasoline. There's no reason in the world we ought to be paying over $1 a gallon of gasoline in this country.
Well, besides the 60 cents a gallon tax that's on it, you've got the price of gas is reflected in the value of the dollar on the world market. And if we were not buying our gas on the world market, if we were buying our petroleum from North Dakota, then we wouldn't be worrying too much about what a dollar was worth in Venezuela.
No, I tell you, it's like
just look what we've done. We pump all this money into Saudi Arabia. They laugh at us and hold us hostage and send 18 of the 19 people over here to blow up our airplanes, and we still suck up to them. We got Hugo Chavez down there, the late Hugo, down in Ugo. The late Hugo.
May God rest his soul.
He's down there laughing at us and using our money to do everything he can against us. Not to mention all these here other countries that take our money for their petroleum at an inflated price and use that as a weapon against us, when we could be doing it here. I'm not an isolationist, but I am a kind of
I'm a nationalist.
Yeah, I'm thinking if isolationism in economic terms is not such a bad thing. I don't want to erect tariffs. I'm for free trade, trade and free production.
Right. Well, we send somewhere in the neighborhood of 800 to 900 billion dollars a year for oil exports. Now you think what 800 or 900 billion dollars would do if we spent it here with ourselves?
Well, there's a whole lot at work there besides funky government policies. You've got some corporations. Everybody's down on big oil. I'm not down on big oil. I don't think their profit margin is excessive. I think their tactics are low down because they have got in bed with the government and allowed the government to put everybody out that's their competition. So that, I mean, they like to deal in the world market because they just mark it up a reasonable amount, but they mark it up from a base that's already inflated. It's their advantage to have $3 gas instead of 50-cent gas, but it would be to our advantage to have $1 gas and give them the same 50 cents, which they don't make anyway. But percentage-wise is a different thing. I mean, if you've got 10% of $3, you got 30%. If you've got 10% of $1, you got 10 cents. So why not give them 30% of $1, and we pay them $1 instead of $3, and we're all a whole lot happier, except, you know, the Arabs.
Yeah, that's true. We need to unravel the intervention of government and the collusion of big business. The crony capitalism is what it is, because it puts hardship on the people of this country.
Well, there ain't no crony capitalism with Vital Care.
Well, I would give a few of those guys a ride with Vital Care.
562-9370 if you need a ride to the hospital or back from the hospital. Or
Right.
you want to get on one of them air respirators that they can haul you around on. You can't do that just anywhere. You got to go with Vital Care. They're the only one that got them.
Yeah, you just pick up the phone, dial 911, tell them you want Vital Care to come pick you up.
Or call 562-9370 and you don't even have
Right.
to get 911 involved.
Right, there you go. You could call 562-9370 and ask them what the number is for 911.
Yeah, you know, they've got an unlisted number, 911 does.
You know, this brings to mind a little problem with the 911 that we're having around here.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like when they got in an uproar as to who should direct traffic out here at the high school.
Yeah.
And Cliff says, no, that's county high school, and you need to direct traffic out there. Or
Well, I'm on the city side. I'd like to have a little city support. All they do is catch the people that are speeding.
That's true. You know, people from the county go up and down the highway here, and the La Follette Police Department catches them, or the Highway Patrol, and that I don't know what that money goes to the county. Not, but back to the 911. You know, when I lived out in Demery,
yeah,
and paid just county taxes, that included my 911 access, other than what you pay through the telephone, you know. And now, when you move into the city and you pay your county taxes, then you have to pay your city taxes, plus your telephone 911 charge. You're really being charged twice. The people in the city are having to pay more than the people in the county for the same service.
Yeah.
And that's not quite right.
Let's sue them.
Huh?
Let's sue them.
I think we
Let's
need
get
the county.
Let's get a class action lawsuit up against. Yeah, I guess we have to sue the county.
Right. Well, now there's another class action lawsuit that could be brought against the county.
What's that?
Anytime you sign a bond in Campbell County, and say that person goes to trial, and he's convicted, and he's given a probation and so many dollars in fines, but he's through. He's no longer the court having a hold on him. And I did that, went down to get my bond money back, which I gave to the sheriff's department. And Bobby Van's office took his fines out of my bond money.
Yeah.
Which, and I no way guaranteed the payment of his fines. I only guaranteed that he would show up for trial. Now I think all those fines that have been taken out of people's bond money over the years would have to be paid back.
And I agree with you, because they're two separate things.
Yeah.
By the way, what are you doing borrowing or renting dollies? What about that one you took off of poor old Walt? Ain't you got that now?
Well, I sold that one. Then I had another one which got stolen.
No.
That was two, you know, one that Walt stole.
Yeah.
And then I got back, took him to court, and got my money. And all he was going to pay me for was the lock he cut off the chain, you know.
Yeah.
I said, there ain't going to be no days like that. I said, if I'd gone and cut the lock off of a chain and took your $2 to have me in jail for theft.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I could say I thought it was mine.
Well, if you remember, I told you ought to charge him rent on it.
I did.
I know.
I did. And when I turned it in, he said, that's too much. I said, well, probably is, but I said, I got this estimate from your people. I said, that's what you charge.
What'd he say?
He didn't know what to say, you know. And so the only thing I didn't get paid for that I should have, guess I didn't explain it right, was I had to carry 2 people with me to drive the car back because I did not have a tow dolly.
Yeah.
And I charged him for them going down there and back. But then I charged room rent for myself. He said, well, you would have had to rent a room if you'd gone down there anyhow. I said, no, I would have stayed with one of my children or with one of my brothers or sisters. I said, I couldn't bring strangers in with me to spend the night at my relative's house, you know. But somehow I didn't explain it to him because he didn't pay me for the room rent.
For yours?
Well,
Or for any of it? Well, he ought to paid for them, but not yours because you could have left them and went over to your family.
I could have, yeah.
But he ought to paid for them.
Right, but he didn't pay for them either. But he paid right much for that use of that dolly.
That's a good education, wasn't it?
Yeah, good education for Walt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet he carried that with him to his grave.
Yeah, Walt was a pretty good feller, but that wasn't right. He just got into the wrong idea.
Right.
Hey, TV.
Hey,
Hey,
Hey!
how you guys doing?
we're doing all right so far. How are you doing?
Hanging in there.
We got a little delay there, ain't we?
Sir?
We got a little delay there.
Yeah, I need to, okay, I've stopped your stream, so therefore we shouldn't have a delay now.
Talk to us.
Yeah, hey, I want to say something about economic fascism.
All right, do it.
You know, when the liberal progressives, you know, the socialists began to take over a couple 100 years ago, they come up with this idea of public education. And, of course, they forced us to pay for the crap, you know? Government didn't want to raise the money. They wanted to steal the money to pay for their public education. And here I have to pay these property taxes, which the majority of which goes to public education. So I'm forced to pay for something that's a total government failure,
Hey,
ain't doing its job,
hey,
but I still have to pay for it.
hey.
Now,
It
if
ain't
I...
hey,
What?
you don't have to worry about that. They got solar panels on the roof now.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, but if they ever get a day of sunshine, they might earn some money. I wonder how the snow is on them solar panels.
I don't know.
Does
It'll
that block
melt
the
off.
sunlight, or does that enhance the sunlight?
I think it makes it brighter.
Yeah.
But anyway, here we are, and if I send my child to a private school to try to get my child educated, I still have to pay the government for their foolishness. And now, if you look at that model, that's exactly what they've done to us with Obamacare. Now, we're all going to be paying for government-controlled and run health care, government-controlled doctors and all this, and the quality of health care is going to go down. Because when the government gets involved, everything goes to hell in a handbasket.
Well, 6 out of 10 doctors supposedly are going to retire early.
Yeah, now, if I want some good health care, I have to resort to what's called medical tourism. I have to fly to Cuba, or to Brazil, or to Singapore, or India to get competent health care, which is still privatized over there. And so it's based on quality and competition. But I still have to pay the government for their failure.
Sure you do.
That is economic fascism. Buddy, these people have it figured out down to the T how to steal from us and how to screw up what was once a really great educational system and once a great medical system.
That's how it works when you have an affirmative action president.
Well, it's what happens when you have a totalitarian fascist running your country.
An ignorant electorate.
And an ignorant electorate. Buddy, it all boils down to, was it Herman Cain? What was his name? Herman Cain? Or that came up with that idea of low information voter?
Yeah.
But boy, was that appropriate. And everybody, Rush Limbaugh, Hannity, all of them have begun using it. I mean, that was absolutely... And you know what it basically says is these people out here are fools, and they love being that. They enjoy being ignorant. As long as they can make it to happy hour.
And get to the football game.
I love it when old Bloomberg started to outlaw happy hour. Boy, he backed off of that one, didn't he?
Who was it?
Bloomberg, Mayor Bloomberg.
Yeah.
He was going to outlaw happy hour, and boy, they said
Yeah, I remember that.
Too far, Mayor. They say that's going too far, Mayor. I'll tell
That
you
guy's
what.
a total idiot.
Well, you know, when they outlawed assassination, that ruined government right there.
Well, that's the reason I don't think we need any gun laws, because it's already against the law to shoot people.
Right.
Well, they love redundancy.
I reckon
You know.
they do.
Hey, I was in a guy's home today. He has over 250 guns.
Don't release any names.
No.
If
Oh,
the roads
no,
don't
never.
get him, the law will.
Never. I mean, you talk about envious.
Well, has he got any ammunition?
Lots of that. He's got lots of that. And his son reloads for him.
Hey, is there any problem buying powder?
Well, the price is shooting through the roof. I can get casings and powder, but I'm having a hard time finding bullets.
Well, as long as we can make a good loud noise, that ought to be good enough. Joe Biden said just shoot up in the air. Shoot up in there a month.
Yeah, boy, teach your wife to protect herself by shooting up in the air or vomiting on the assailant. I love that one. Vomit on him.
Brandishing
use
a
a-
weapon will get you locked up even if you've got a concealed carry permit.
Right. Anytime you go about as a terror to the population, you can be
You
arrested.
go out and start shooting up in the air and it's completely legal every other way. They can put you in jail.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll tell you what, you guys got a great show. I love listening to you. And
Well, I believe
I
that-
really appreciate the fact you take phone calls and you let crazies like me get on the air.
Well, it's three crazies working
You make
together.
volatile revolutionary statements like educational fascism, and now we're having medical fascism.
Well, what do you think about this here
You know what,
Tennessee
this government-
What do you think about Tennessee Conservative Union wanting to take over the mining?
Well, yeah, I've left some comments on Facebook about the fact
That's a
that
conservative
this thing,
conservation people. Yeah.
hypocritical, and I believe I've been blacklisted by them, blocked.
Well, I'd say you might have. Stuff like that happens.
Yeah.
You've got me kicked out of a lot of places, too.
Hey, I've been kicked out of I can't communicate with the state Republican Party. I've been blacklisted by them. I've been blacklisted by the Campbell County Republican Party. They elected officers, and I'm a card-carrying member. Didn't even get invited to the
Well, you know, you can always tell them you've been kicked out of bigger places than this.
I'll tell you, it's pretty bad when your own party don't love you anymore.
Well, the thing
But
about
they
it,
want butt kissers like Dennis Powers.
I think
you
it's a
know.
lost cause anyway.
You'd have to have a crowbar to get Dennis Powers' lips off the butts of them high-rise Republicans.
Well, he's doing what he's supposed to do. He's a state representative.
He's representing the state.
Yeah.
Hey, how do you like this bill they're trying to pass about our tickets? If you buy a ticket to a
Yeah.
Tennessee football game, you can't even give it away.
Well, it used to be that way, and then they quit outlawing scalping. You know?
Yeah, but I can't give my tickets away.
I know, and it's just if anybody's fool enough to buy them, they ought to let them keep them, and they'll change their minds.
They ought to outlaw sports.
Well, that'd get their attention.
Well, you know, I said several times on the program that it wasn't that UT had a football team. It was that the football team had a university.
That's a good point. Excellent point. Speaking of football teams, how's North Carolina doing in the March playoffs?
And one thing I like about my daughter over there,
He wants to know how North Carolina is doing in basketball.
well, they didn't do too good against Kansas Sunday night. They had Kansas by 9 points at the half break, but when when it ended, Kansas beat them by 12 points.
And your daughter done what?
Well, they have she has parking spaces that she pays for, but when football comes to town, she's supposed to vacate that parking space, and she doesn't do it. She intentionally leaves her car there.
It's just $250 for a parking space, ain't it?
Yeah, I think so.
$250.
Well, a blowed up Volkswagen.
Yeah. Is she still going to school?
No.
Hey, you
That's
tell
when
you
she
back
was
in
in.
the 90s, you had to donate a minimum $500 to be able to buy a parking ticket for, I think it was 14 home games. 12
Maybe.
or 14.
Well, I can remember when UT used to be run was kind of an idea toward helping the students and keeping it affordable. Now they try to find as many excuses to spend money as they can. Are you familiar with Cumberland College, Cumberland University?
Lord, at Cumberland College up here at
Well,
Williamsburg.
where are they getting all the loot? I mean, I was up there last week. I hadn't been there in a while, and I wouldn't know that place. They've got.
You know who the president of that is?
Who?
The guy that owns the Royal.
Well, how did they get all that money to build all them buildings?
Well, they probably,
The Royal.
you know, probably donated money.
Well, when I
They
went there,
probably have one of the nation's largest, what do they call it when they have that money for them colleges and they invest it?
endowment.
Yeah. I bet they got one of the biggest endowments around now.
Well, I know they've got some of the highest tuition in the world up there now.
Got what?
Well, that pays
tuition.
for a
Yeah, I
lot
know
of
they
stuff.
do. Yeah, they're high.
Plus, there's all kinds of federal money, going into colleges.
Well, I used to get these letters from them crying, wanting me to give them money all the time. And the way they done before, I wasn't going to give them nothing. They beat me out of $10, and I'm still mad about it. And then they tried to beat me. They did beat me out of 90 again, and I kind of got aggravated about that, and that broke me. UT, when I went over there, I liked the way they done business, but the way I see they're doing now, I wouldn't. If I'd have died with no heirs, I'd give UT everything I had at one time, and I wouldn't give them a pot to pee in or nowhere to pour it right now.
Yeah, I get these communications from my college, Berea,
Yeah.
about signing everything over to them now. It's kind of like where you can sell your house before
Yeah.
you die.
Uh-huh.
And,
Reverse mortgage.
They pay you for your house now, and then when you die, they take it over.
Yeah.
That's kind kind of the way these colleges are, except they don't want to pay you for anything. They just want you
They
to.
just want you to hurry and die.
They just want you to hurry and die. But anyway, you guys got a great show.
Well, thank you,
And I
sir.
sure appreciate the time and effort you put into this.
Call back again sometime.
Yeah.
If you want to see this and what you've missed, you can replay it after we go off and listen to yourself all over again.
Oh, I don't know if I want to do that or not. I sound pretty crazy when I'm talking. If I had to listen to it, I would probably.
Thanks for tuning in. We got
Okay,
See ya.
see you.
bye.
We
Now,
got just a few more minutes,
you
and
talking
we got to
about-
tell them about Dixie Concrete. But go ahead and do whatever you want to
Tell
do.
them about Dixie Concrete, because they got the hardest concrete known to man. They may not make steps, but they make some of the bestest boat anchors you'll ever tie your boat
and
to.
they put them little blue pills in their concrete so it stays hard.
Yeah, there you go. They do that. What they using that concrete? Viagra?
Yeah, blue pills.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I thought something.
That ain't Nexium either.
Huh?
That ain't Nexium. Anyway, we recommend if you've got any needs for concrete or septic systems or boat anchors or walls for your fort, check with Dixie Concrete. They can take
Septic
care of
tanks, just whatever you need along the concrete line, they'll deliver it to you at a fair price, and they'll bring you what you're supposed to get.
it. Well, we've got 3 minutes and 45 seconds left. Tell them all you want to.
See, I was going to tell you that, don't throw off on universities too much. I got an invitation to Old Timers reunion down at Chapel Hill. And the whole thing, big free meal at the Carolina Inn. So you bring as many guests as you want to, because I forget who it was that died and left an endowment to feed everybody that had been out
Well, it was Andy.
been out over 50 years.
Was it Andy?
No, it wasn't Andy. I got his name up there. I didn't know him, but he died in '84 and endowed the university with enough money to feed everybody that's over 50 and as many guests as you want to bring. But then when I looked at all the other festivities that they had down there, it was going to wind up costing me $700-800.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether I'm going to ride down there for a free meal or not.
Well, I just go there and eat and come back to the house.
That's what I ought to do.
That's what I'd do.
I mean, it's just 600-700
They're
miles
just
away.
riding off that old man's generosity to generate some more funds.
He'll think I don't care nothing about him if I don't go down there and eat.
I go there and show my respect and get a doggy bag. Take 50 of your closest
Now,
friends.
I've never eaten at the Carolina Inn, even though I walked by it every day. I had a room right down the hill from it, and it's a magnificent structure. The Carolina Inn is, and supposed to have some good food too.
Well, they can't give it away.
Yeah, they are. But folks, we've enjoyed it tonight. I have, and maybe we said a few things that might keep
And we
you
hope we
thinking.
said something that offended you, and we're sorry, but that's just the way life is.
If we did, it was purely intentional.
And any resemblance this might be to civilization is just purely unintentional, coincidental. We'll be on again tomorrow night at
Right.
8 o'clock.
8
Same
o'clock.
place, same station, or you can get us on Channel
Right here,
12.
as well as on Channel 12 WLAF in La Follette, Tennessee.
Thank you, and good night,
See ya.
Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are.